welcome to the Truth Booth. This is the 5th video in a series called What Singles Wish We Knew. And so if you haven't watched the other videos leading up to this one, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. I have been so encouraged by doing this, and it's been such a good reminder to me about caring for the single people in my life, and I hope it has been to you too. Well, I want to move on because this is the last one and we don't have much time and I have a lot to say. So what I want to do in this video is I kind of want to name this one What We Wish You Single People Knew. I want to spend some time just telling you how much you mean in my life. And I've gotten really emotional preparing for this, thinking about the single women in my life and what they mean to me and what they've brought to me. And so I want to spend some time just talking about that, what we wish you knew, because we don't say it enough. I want to talk first about a couple of women in the Bible. Back in Exodus, I studied this a few years ago, and I found these two women there that just fascinated me. Their names are Shiphrah and Puah, and you can find their story in Exodus 1:15 through 21. And this is a time when the Hebrew children were in bondage, they were in slavery, and it's setting up the story of Moses that's going to come and free them. In the middle of that, we find these two women, these two midwives that Pharaoh calls to his court and says that because of the threat of these Hebrews rising up and having too many numbers and taking over, he calls the midwives and says, okay, every time that you come to the birthing of a Hebrew child, if it's a boy, kill it. If it's a girl, let it live. I was so fascinated with this story. I looked it up and found out who are these midwives. Well, it's incredible. It's debatable whether they were single or not. But what we do know is in that culture, they were barren. They were barren women. And that culture assigned barren women to be the ones that were trained up and learned in how to bring babies into the world, especially in difficult births. Now, doesn't that just blow your mind? It blows my mind. They didn't do it as a punishment or a shame factor. They did it because they thought, well, these women are going to completely miss out on the joy and the beauty of birth if they're not involved in it. And so we want them involved in it so that they are right there bringing new life. If anybody's been in that experience before, it is an incredible experience. But as new life is coming into the world, that they are right there. In fact, they are the ones that are bringing the new life. Maybe they're not the mother birthing, but they're going to be the one that could be saving the mother's life or the baby's life. I think that that is incredible. And the awesome thing about that is that that reminds me of you, my single friends, because you could turn your back on all of us who are married and go in your hole and grieve and cry and complain about it. But that's not what I see you do. I see you pouring out to the very people who a lot of you wish you could be in their situation. A lot of you have grieved about not being in their situation. I see you pouring out to married people. I see you being the one offering to take care of their children. I see you being the one being the aunties that maybe they don't have. I see you being the ones that are just spreading love and sharing joy and serving those who you really could have a lot of animosity toward. Bravo for you. You have inspired me watching you as you do that. I want you to go read that story and see what happens. These women, because of their fear of God, they don't obey the Pharaoh, and they do obey God and honor him, and they do not kill those boy babies, and one of whom ended up being Moses, who freed the people from slavery. So go read that story. It's amazing, and it reminds me of you. But now I want to tell you about some of my friends today that are single, that I honor. And I'm just going to quickly go through them. I'm not going to say their names because I haven't asked them permission to tell their stories, but I'm going to tell you about some. And as I do, I have this little pot of flowers over here, and I'm going to put them as a flower into my pot here. And the very first one I want to do is a single woman that I honor and I respect so much. She has given her life on the mission field. She has been a teacher. She is a drama coach. She is an amazing director of wonderful dramas and just pours her life out to the people around her. I miss her dearly, but she has inspired me. She is an amazing woman that has poured such words of life into me. She's been a joy to work with, and I'm picking one of the biggest flowers that I have to represent her because she's one of the oldest single women I know. And this flower, if you could smell it, has filled my whole house with fragrance. And I think that's what's happened in her life. She is so fragrant. I'm putting her right in the middle of my bouquet. And then I want to tell you about a very young woman that I know, a younger woman that I know, who is just now branching out after graduating from college and is giving her life to ministry. She could have a job that would pay her a whole lot more than she's going to get in ministry, but in her single life, she has chosen to give herself to something that isn't going to be very easy for her to do, and she's doing it. And I respect and honor her, and she has spoken into my life, and I love her with all my heart. And then I want to tell you about a new friend that I've met recently who is single and raising 2 little children all by herself. Children that came to her out of abuse and rape. And she has kept those children, loves them, nurtures them, and she has escaped that life of abuse. And Jesus has broken amazing chains in her life. And she is just so full of joy. You cannot get around her without getting a hug and being infected by her incredible joy for what Jesus has done in her life. Thank you for the influence that you've been in my life. Another friend I want to tell you about is a woman who I would say is entering her middle ages, who has taught me so much about the glory of the Word of God. She is so studied in the Word. She's been to seminary. And you know, she has never really been utilized in the church for the potential that she has. Sometimes we just don't know what to do with women who are just intelligent and studied in the Word, and we just don't know what to do. And sometimes we give them jobs that aren't really what they have a capacity for, but she joyfully ministers to those around her, has ministered to me. I love her so much, and without her, my bouquet of flowers would not be as beautiful as it is. So I'm going to put her in here. Another friend of mine is also a theater person that pours her life into those students, gives her life to them. I mean, she sacrifices so much for the students that she works with, but also she pours her life into those around her. She takes care of her mother. She is intelligent. I mean, really, she is so studied in the Word. She brings so much life and beauty to me and to everybody who is a part of her life. I'm going to put her in my bouquet over here. And then I want to tell you about a friend of mine who really, she's the reason that I'm brave enough to do these videos. She inspires me like nobody else. She has encouraged me in my gifts of creativity. She encourages me when I am feeling weak and I am feeling inadequate and I am feeling like nobody would want to hear what I have to say. And why should I say it? Who am I? She breathes life into me. I love her so much. She has raised 3 amazing women who are amazing adults right now. And she continues to pour out her giftedness to all those that are around her. I love her so much, and my life would be so vacant without her in it. Another young woman that I know that is single and so longs to be married, but she has thrown herself into anything that comes to her that she feels like God put in her heart. She is going to do it, no matter how impossible it may seem. She has traveled the world. She has been here and given us the privilege of her servant heart here in Ecuador. She is a true joy to everybody that has her in her life. She has a love for children. She pours herself out for children. She has brought me laughter, joy, the ability to think things through, and so many warm hugs when I've needed them. I am so glad I have her in my life. There are so many single women in my life that I can't even begin to get them all on this little 10-minute video. But lastly, I want my other beautiful, very fragrant lily to represent one that I am going to name, my daughter, Amy. And I'm just going to get so choked up thinking about the way that she has taught me God's grace. She's taught me how to trust God. She has taught me how to honestly look inside of my own heart and see the ugly there and want to be rid of it. She embraced her singleness in that she decided when she was in her early 30s, well, maybe God isn't going to give me a husband. I don't know, but I still can't go on not being a mom. I have something to offer children. So she went through the painstaking hardship of adopting 2 Ecuadorian girls when she lived here in Ecuador, and gave me 2 more beautiful grandchildren. And she is giving her life, her heart and her life to these girls. And Amy, I am so proud of you. You have taught me endurance. You have taught me patience. You have taught me how to trust in a whole new way. And I want to honor you. And oh my word, you fill my life with so much fragrance. I love you so much. Look at you, my lovelies. This is what we want to say to you. Our lives would not be filled with this kind of beauty, this kind of fragrance, this kind of life without you, our single friends. And I know sometimes we're insensitive, but believe me, you fill this world. You fill this world with so much that we are so thankful for. We can smell the richness. And you know what? You are a beautiful fragrance to the Lord. We love you. Hey, will you do others a favor and let them know about this video series? There's 5 videos in it. What singles wish we knew. And comment below. Why don't you comment below about a single person that has blessed your life and tag them in it so that they get this video and can know how much we appreciate them. See you next time.